Welcome. Thank you for joining me on this somber occasion. We are here to honor the life of sales and marketing. I would like to ask you all to bow your heads and just look back on how sales and marketing was so good from 1950 to 2019 and how it served us. It had a good run, but now it's gone. And what's left in its place? Well, the official cause of death for sales and marketing? Distrust. Distrust killed it as we know it. What can be done when 90% of consumers don't trust businesses anymore? What happened? How did this come about? Things used to be so good. Well, back during the recession, the Great Recession of 2008, an interesting thing happened. Buyers, your prospects, were so busy trying to keep their jobs while others in their departments were let go. They were focused, they didn't have the bandwidth to be polite anymore to salespeople and to pay attention to marketing like they used to. The old methods that salespeople used to use, they doubled, they tripled, they quadrupled in this time because their budgets were cut during the recession. So they were told, call more, email more. The volume became unsustainable. And we all, as consumers, got great at ignoring them. This is what ultimately killed them. We today have a crisis of trust. Trust is at an all-time low. And each one of us has constructed our own fortress of solitude, where we hide from people who are trying to sell us something or market us something. When was the last time you answered your cell phone in an evening when you didn't recognize the number? Would you do it now? No. So trust is at an all-time low. And the more that the old ways were used to reach us all as consumers, the more our resistance to those ways also increased. So now we're left with this crazy time of what's the next chapter? What's going to replace sales and marketing as we knew it? So I'm going to start with sales. Let's talk sales first. My prediction is that 80% of traditional sales roles are going to become extinct by 2027. Why? Because salespeople that no longer add value to the transaction will be circumvented as soon as the buyer is able to just order online. How many of you like to order things in your pajamas, shop in your pajamas at home, from your bed, on your phone? How many of you would wait until morning and call up Amazon to place an order? Nobody. So as soon as we have the option to go around the live person, we will, except in a couple cases. Those cases are, now I don't know why I picked this photo because it kind of looks like Donald Trump and his hair to me, so yeah, I really need to change this, but who is going to survive? Who are the 20% that are going to survive this crisis? Well, if it's a complex sales process, those salespeople can't be done, they can't go away. We need them. If it is a situation of loyalty, we will still go to that salesperson. Think about the last time you purchased a car. You probably started your research online. You probably, before you even stepped into the car dealership, you knew the make, the model, the color, the features, the price you were willing to pay. What value then did that salesperson add to the process? This is going to impact all industries. So the way to stay relevant is to develop the most loyal customers, and I'm going to show you a couple reasons or a couple ways that you can do that. Salespeople, in order to stay relevant, they need to evolve. They have to evolve into what I call smarketers. Your job is shifting, where you need to assist the marketing department to bring people into the sales funnel, because oftentimes we don't even know that they're there until they're ready to make a purchase. And then they show up and we're like, where have you been? So helping them enter the sales funnel earlier and building awareness of your company, it's an interesting shift. And also For those complex sales, if you can shift to concierge mode, where you help them through and you don't just sell it and then turn it over to someone else. That's a dangerous time to be in sales if you do that. So the more you can stay with the buyer throughout the whole process and give them great service, they're going to remember you, they're going to become loyal to you. Salespeople also have to be really good at closing these days because, as I said, those buyers may not even enter your sales funnel. You may not be aware of them until they're ready to buy. So your only job may be to close with a lot of these buyers. So this is how things are going to be shifting with sales. So now let's talk marketing. What's going to be changing with marketing? For those of you who were in my session yesterday, you already know what this means. This is Times Square, and I liken this to what's going on in the heads of every consumer, ourselves included. This is what my mind looks like on a daily basis. And there's so much going on. How can anybody get my attention? Well, if you picture your business as a pixel on an ad, on a building in Times Square, screaming for attention from the people below, that's kind of what it's like today, to get attention. So it's a big challenge for marketers. We're trying to balance the efficiency of your company and your marketing efforts with building trust. And unfortunately, some of the most efficient ways to market to customers are exactly what's killing trust. So, interruption marketing. How many of you have watched a video on YouTube lately? Raise your hand. How many of you got annoyed because you had to watch an ad for 4 seconds? Right? 4 seconds, we're annoyed because they're interrupting what we are doing to get our attention and try to sell us something. It is their efficiency, but it's leading to our distrust and our annoyance. Do you want to start off with your consumer being annoyed by you, your prospect, your investor being annoyed by you? No. Retargeting. Now, retargeting is where you're looking at a pair of shoes, let's say, these beautiful red shoes, and then you go to another site, and there are the shoes. I call retargeting creepy marketing. It used to be really cool. I used to see it as a sign, like, oh my gosh, there are the red shoes. It's a sign from God. I have to have the shoes. I must buy the shoes. Today, I just know that they're invading my privacy and they're watching me. Your customers don't like the whole retargeting thing. Email blasts. Who loves to get email blasts? Raise your hand. Woohoo! What is the first thing you do every morning? How many of you sleep with your phone within arm's reach? I know I do. What's the first thing you do in the morning? Grab your phone. I go through my email, and I feel really good about myself if I can clean out as much of the junk as possible to start my day. It's a split-second decision, and most of them are email blasts. How can you build trust? I spoke yesterday about micro-influencers. Doesn't have to be a celebrity, but if you leverage the power of your current customers, your future customers trust what a complete stranger says about your company before they trust what you say, because you have skin in the game. You are paid to say good things about your company. So leveraging the power of micro-influencers builds trust. We trust them. We don't trust you. 90% of us don't trust you from the very beginning. It's something that you have to build and something you have to earn. If you can do something that surprises or delights or amuses the customer, that makes you more memorable. And that builds likability, credibility, and trust. These are the types of things that we like these days as consumers. Authentic marketing. You've heard this time and again because it works. We don't want to be talked at. We want to feel like we're part of a conversation. These are some of the things that work. Things that are already here and things that are coming, 3 V's. Video, video, video. Video is here. We all know it's here. We need to leverage video more. There's some great sessions. There's a session today about harnessing the power of video. Voice search. Alexa, Google Home. Are you thinking ahead? Are you building skills in Alexa? Are you building ways that your customers can find you through Alexa, Google Home, through voice search? And an interesting thing that's coming next is visual search. Pinterest is already doing this. Google Lens is already doing this. It's where the customer can upload a picture of something, and Pinterest or Google will tell them where to find it. I saw an interesting example. Who's familiar with this? Anybody tried it? It's pretty cool, right? You can upload a picture of a whole room, and Google will return this lamp can be bought here, this couch can be bought here. It's very interesting. So how can you leverage these things for whatever it is that you're selling? This is thinking pretty far ahead, but in some senses, these are already here. So some other tips about what's working right now. Being intriguing rather than, well, I'll go through the no's, but being intriguing, piquing their curiosity, providing them with solutions, providing them with actual solutions rather than features. Does anybody buy a saw because they want a saw? No, you buy a saw because you want one less tree, right? So the salesperson focusing on the blade and the handle and the whatever is focusing on the wrong things. Being conversational is the way to get through to customers today. We don't like the whole uber professional marketing speak, using all the buzzwords that are of the time. Having it be personalized, we've heard a lot about this on the marketing stage and the Inspire stage since yesterday. Personalizing your communications. I know this is tough to do on a macro scale, but there are solutions out there that Scott Brinker talked about yesterday, where you can actually personalize on a larger scale to build trust. Some of the things we want to avoid. Intrusive, like the YouTube, the 4-second annoyance, 4 seconds, and we're turned off to that company for a really long time. Talking features instead of talking solutions. The whole marketing speak. I don't know the buzzwords for your industry, but I liken this to our hotel. Let's talk about a hotel because we talked about like TripAdvisor yesterday. Our hotel is fabulous. It's beautiful, it's well appointed, it's comfortable, it's clean. We have the best customer service. Does that sound like every hotel that you've ever researched? How can you stand out from the way that your competitors are talking about themselves? How can you stand out and be different and just be conversational? And just be real, be authentic, be human. Even if you're marketing to thousands or millions of people. Generic. Being generic. We like the whole personalized approach rather than the generic approach. Brian talked yesterday about dear name. He sent out a blast to 30,000 people and it said dear name. When he realized the error of his way, he sent out another blast and said, dear name, just kidding, I know your name is Joe. And he got more responses to that than any other blast in his history, because it was not generic. But for efficiency's sake, we try to send out generic things because it's quick and it's easy. But those are the easiest things for you to ignore in your own inbox, am I right? We don't like when a buyer journey is forced on us. We can tell if we've entered a funnel and we're growing weary of that as consumers. So we want to control our own journey, our own timing, our own consumption of the information. We want to do the research. We want to do the research in our pajamas at home, as I discussed. We want to control that journey more and more. How are you empowering your customers to do that? Do you have Blockbuster in Poland? Blockbuster Video, did you have that? No. Are you familiar? Blockbuster Video. Did you have a video rental store in the 90s where you could go and rent the VHS tapes? I'm sorry? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying no. hey, I know you. So in the States, we had Blockbuster. And who has Netflix now? Blockbuster, in the early days of Netflix, had the opportunity to buy Netflix for a song so cheaply. They said no. They said, we are so successful right now. We have locations all over the place. We're making millions of dollars. Our stock is high. And what we know about our customers is they love to get in their car, to drive to our location. They love to peruse hundreds of VHS tapes until they find the one they want. They love to wait in line to rent that video. They drive home, they watch the video, and they love to come and return that video. They were so successful, they were blinded to the reality of the disruption that was happening. So the time to adapt is now. Why? Because it is a fantastic economy like we haven't seen in many parts of the world, but this fantastic economy is hiding the truth. Buyers have shifted their behavior so much in the last 5 years, but the economy has been strong enough where we as sales and marketing people, we can't really tell because we're enjoying a good economy too. We're more successful maybe than we've been in a really long time, so we're not paying attention. So don't be Blockbuster, be Netflix. I like this quote. The biggest indicator of future failure is your current success. Are you blinded by your current success so much that you are stagnant? The Fortune 500 list, the average time that a company used to spend on the Fortune 500 list was 50 years. Today, it's 16. Companies make it to the Fortune 500 list. They are one of the most profitable 500 companies in the world. And they lose sight. They get comfortable. So how are you adjusting your marketing tactics and your sales tactics now? And who came up with this quote? Okay, I did, and I'm thinking it's really kind of arrogant of me to quote myself, so I'm going to change this whole slide up. But I like this quote a lot. So I would suggest, please start with one thing. What one thing can you change? How can you look forward, even though you're so busy right now? There are so many tools. There's so much noise in your world that it's really hard to stop what you're doing because you're so successful now and look forward and adapt. Don't let this be your Blockbuster moment. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together for Shawna Suckow.